This is Get Real with Bob and Stacey, the show that helps you learn about the mortgage and real estate markets. Get the inside scoop from their expert list of guests and have some fun along the way. Now, here's Bob Gallagher and Stacey Alcorn.
Welcome back. You're listening to Get Real with Bob and Stacey. I'm joined in the studio today by my co-host, Peter DeMore. How you doing, Pete?
Doing great, Bob.
And we have a very special guest with us today, Realtor Jenn Russo from RE/MAX Traditions. How you doing, Jen?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Bob.
Welcome to the show. You cover Harvard and Bolton and some towns surrounding that area?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Why don't you give us a little bit of background on your real estate career?
Sure. So I started my real estate career in 2003, and I actually started at RE/MAX Traditions and ventured to a more local office shortly thereafter. I've been with Coldwell Banker, and I'm pleased to be back with RE/MAX Traditions at this point.
And you just started back there recently, right?
I did, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
That's a
you.
Great outfit there in Bolton.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be joining. It's a dynamic group of agents, very progressive, and really very strong marketing and technology that I think is going to help us navigate through the real estate world today.
Yeah, and they're tops in that market there too, aren't they?
They are, yeah. So thrilled to make the transition and to be part of the team.
That's good. That's good. Congratulations again. So why don't we talk a little bit about the real estate market at large? You know, we've kind of talked over the last few weeks about how the market's still fairly hot.
Yep.
You know, inside 128, still on fire. I mean, you can't touch anything. Bidding wars left and right. Doesn't matter if it's good property or not, it seems. And then as you work your way out kind of between 495 and 128, cools off a bit, not as much activity. Then outside 495 had cooled off a little bit this summer, but seems like it's coming back again. What are you seeing in your areas?
Yeah, so a couple of things to that point. You know, bidding wars historically did not come out into the Harvard, Bolton, and surrounding town areas. But I have seen this year several times in which if a home is priced competitively, that there have been multiple offers. So, you know, some of the guidance that we've given sellers is to really remain competitively priced to hopefully bring in a higher sale price. So it's the first time in a while that I have seen those bidding wars happening. And we're getting a lot of people moving out from the city to these areas. You can get a little bit more house, more land. The wonderful school systems have also brought people out into this area. Actually, just to kind of talk on that a little bit, U.S. News and World Report has ranked Harvard school systems, and I think it's the top 300. Actually, it's ranked 276th nationally.
Wow.
And Boston Magazine just did the best high schools in the area for 2015, and Harvard came in ranked at number 7, and Neshoba ranked at number 29. So
wow,
that's
excellent.
Nationally, or is that locally?
That's locally. The U.S. News and World Report was a national ranking, which is certainly for a lot of the buyers I have coming into the market, that's a topic of why people are moving out into that area. So they'll sacrifice a little bit longer commute for those excellent school systems.
And there's talk of doing some renovations or additions to the Neshoba High School now, I think, too, right?
Yes. Yep. And so, I mean, all of that put together and a strong school system are definitely advantageous for this area. In addition to, I think, the commutability of this area. You have access to major routes, 495, Route 2, expansion of the Littleton train station and South Acton, which are making it more appealing for people to be able to commute into the city.
Now, I was going to ask you, is that what you're seeing more often than not? Is people leaving, say the 128 belt and moving out to 495?
Yeah, I've had a lot of buyers this year coming from, say, Jamaica Plain, Brookline, and moving out to this area. Again, the average over the last year to date, the average square footage of homes has been about 2,900 square feet. So people are able to move into this market, have more house, and have more land as well.
I'm guessing that inside Brookline and Jamaica Plain, it's quite a bit less than 2,900.
I think you're right. Absolutely.
If you're lucky, you might have that much land.
Right.
It's good to see. We've been talking about this for a couple of years, but the way prices have accelerated inside 128, it's not sustainable for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people just simply aren't willing to spend $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 and live in a studio.
Yep.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, especially if you have families and you want them to go to good schools.
Absolutely.
So Do you see a lot? Is it commuters that are moving out? Are they choosing Harvard and Bolton because of location, or is it more closer to the Littleton, Acton area that commuters are moving to just because of the train access?
So, I think a little bit of a mix of both. We certainly have people that have their stopping point, that they want to be inside that 495 belt, and then those people are going to gravitate into Littleton, Acton. Again, some people have been priced out of even, let's say, the Concord market as well. So, and Littleton's another town that I think offers people some fabulous affordability and housing market. And also good school systems.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you can give us a general idea of pricing, what you're getting for a first-time buyer, say in Littleton.
Yep.
Is there still decent inventory in that $300,000 to $500,000 range?
So I'd like to see a little bit more, especially in the Harvard Bolton area. I think Bolton offers a little bit more in terms of more updates in the home, more newly built than, let's say, Harvard. Harvard specifically, I'd like to see more entry level under the $500,000. I think those houses fly off the market just because there really isn't a lot and not as much opportunity for that first time home buyer. But certainly, definitely some opportunities within the Littleton area, Bolton, Lancaster as well for those first time buyers.
How about building in Harvard? I mean, I'm seeing a little bit in Bolton, not a ton. I mean, it's not a big town, but how about Harvard?
Similar in Harvard. Not a whole lot of building. There are some pockets of land, but really trying to find that piece of land is a little bit of a challenge.
Any subdivisions?
Not so much. No. So Harvard probably similar to Bolton as well. Conservation land and space is a big factor for people and one of the big draws. So there really isn't that feel of a subdivision, and in fact, not pockets of neighborhoods, but a little bit more rural feel. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we were talking before we started today. There is a subdivision in Bolton. It's almost 80 units. Yeah. But I mean, going back to the conservation and everything else, I believe it took the developer almost 10 years to get permits to get the whole thing approved.
I believe it. And that's a huge development for that town. I haven't seen anything like that in Harvard in my whole time, and I'm pretty much a lifelong resident. Yeah. So
you don't really see it anywhere anymore, though. No. I mean, the 80-unit subdivisions, I mean, you see them maybe in Shrewsbury or maybe even in Northborough, but now that's kind of been developed to the point where you can't do that there anymore either.
Right. I think more people are, because of that and the lack of that option, people are buying homes that might need some updating, which the reality is, in say the 400 to 500 range, you're going to need to do some updating, whether it's to bathrooms, kitchens, etc. And they're renovating them because the option to build new is really not there.
It's tough, yeah. So that's interesting, though. You're saying in that $500,000 range, you're probably looking at kitchen and bath updates?
Potentially. Specifically to Harvard, definitely, yeah. Yeah, that's depending on your style and what you what updated means to you.
Yes, but maybe some people like 80s.
You might like a gold or a mauve tub, but it just depends.
Is there anybody that's out there that, I mean, I grew up with it. My parents built a house in the early 80s and Harvest Gold appliances, Harvest Gold Formica, Harvest Gold linoleum in the kitchen, the first floor bathroom, all Harvest Gold. Yeah. The shower, the floor, the sink, the toilet, and then upstairs, pink.
Yeah, I see it. Honestly, I've been in a couple of houses this spring, same thing. And, buyers are more likely to be receptive to it if it's clean, at least. They can go into it for the right price point, are willing to sacrifice the gold and mauve if it's clean, and they can deal with it for a little while until they have, the financial ability to renovate it. But definitely still some of those out there, for sure.
That's interesting. Yeah. So talk about like the move up buyer, or even the people that are leaving the Boston area, Jamaica Plain, wherever it happens to be. You seeing people that are coming out of condos, moving into single families, or is it?
Yeah, a lot of more, smaller condo living and moving out here for, possibly a colonial. I have seen a lot more people, though, looking for a more open space. And, Harvard and Bolton both, I think, offer some good inventory of contemporary style homes as well. And just that open concept living space. In fact, sometimes it's a little challenging when you have the smaller, smaller rooms and whatnot. That's a little bit challenging if people don't have options to make it a more open concept.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about the older houses. I mean, even if the square footage is there, if everything is just compartmentalized, it doesn't feel very big.
Right, and those are some of the homes that we find are sitting on the market a little bit longer.
Well, you know what it is? All those people just need to get addicted to HGTV like my wife, and you'll have no problem walking into a house no matter how bad it is. You'll say, you know what? Just knock this down, move that out. Yeah. We got a big kitchen and a great room, and everybody's all set.
Just even if that's a support wall. We'll just take that one
take
down.
It out.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't take too many support walls.
Yeah, my wife and I were watching one last night, and that's what they did. It wasn't like Property Brothers or one of those.
Yeah.
It was another renovation show, and they finally settled on this house. They were tired of looking. Had been spending, I think it was a year looking. And they decided that even though they wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, they could buy this 2-bedroom, 1-bath and turn it into a 3 and 2. And the interesting thing is when the contractor goes in there, they're like, yeah, we want to take this wall down and turn this into 2 bedrooms by shifting this wall to the left here. And then we're going to take this bathroom out and this closet, we're going to turn this into 2 bathrooms. And their budget was, and this is the crazy thing, their budget to redo the kitchen, add a bedroom, gut the bathroom, turn it into 2 bathrooms, do the entire outside. I mean, everything, top to bottom, on a 1,500 square foot house was like $47,000.
Oh my gosh.
Like, come on. So the contractor says that he's like, yeah, we can do any of the stuff that you want to do. He goes, sure. The bedroom, you should cross that off the list. And they're like, well, it's just this one wall. He's like, well, yeah, it's on a different foundation. It's a load-bearing wall. He said, just to move that wall and all the structural and foundation changes, $60,000.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, oh, I guess we're not getting that.
Yeah,
we're
not.
But that's the interesting thing is everybody sees these things happening on TV now, so everybody just figures, just knock the wall down. It's no big deal, right?
Well, and it's so true. It's funny you're saying that because often going through homes with buyers, you hear that a lot. Oh, I was just watching HGTV last night, and it's so easy. But the reality is, sometimes yes, but you want to factor in that cost and what it's going to take and the time and effort to
that's the other
get
thing.
It done.
That hour-long show was filmed over a period of 6 months,
right?
Not 60 minutes,
right?
Yeah, sometimes people lose sight of that, but it is kind of crazy. All those new shows that are on, and I'm addicted to them too. I mean, I
There's
love
so
watching
many
the
of them now that it's tough to keep up with them.
Are there any in particular that you like?
Oh, I have to say, I do like the $1 Million Listing.
Yeah, I watched that last night with my wife.
Certain versions of it, but clients all the time. I think it's nice to see excitement around the real estate market, renovating, and just kind of envisioning what you can do with properties. So.
And you know what? That's one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about, Jen. And while I'm thinking of it, I wanted to give out your contact info. So if there's anybody out there that's listening and you're thinking about buying or selling in Harvard or Bolton or the surrounding areas, because you cover, up 495, a couple of towns and down.
Absolutely, yep.
So if you're thinking about buying or selling, give Jen a call. It's Jenn Russo at Remax Traditions in Bolton. It's 508-574-5046. Again, it's 508-574-5046. And you can also check Jen out at our website at jennrusso.com. Tell us a little bit about how the role has changed for realtors with the advent of technology and the internet and everything else.
Yeah. So I think, real estate, and this is part of my job that I find the most exciting, is that it's never the same thing. It's changing all the time, and technology, where it was 10 years ago to where it is now, has made great improvements. I think for, as you look at buyers coming to us, one of the big things I see is that we no longer hold the key to all the inventory, let's say. Buyers come to me telling me the houses they want to see as opposed to me telling them what houses they should go see. So we have a very educated buyer and seller, really, with tools out there and technology at their fingertips to do all the researching and come to us with all that information. So I think we need to be equipped. I think my role is more consultative, really, to people, in that I need to go deeper and explain to them, being an expert in the area, giving them guidance about how other homes compare to the ones they're looking at, as I've been in them and through them, and how that impacts pricing and valuation. My role also is to give a more in-depth knowledge into, let's say out where we are, septic and well. You have people coming from the city. What is a septic? Well, what do you mean? We don't get water publicly. So, I've sat in on seminars for both of those things and sitting with people who drill wells and gaining a deeper understanding of that. Couple of other quick things, technology, marketing, people's drive-by is now online. So, I as a realtor need to make sure that when I work with sellers, I'm having professional photography taken to make sure their house is creating that best first impression online for people. Because if they don't like what they see, they're not going to drive to the house and make an appointment to get in. And then one thing we had talked about also was just, being able to do so much more electronically, whether it's texting, really speed of response is critical. And also electronic signatures. I have, for instance, a purchase and sale that I have clients signing today, and it's as easy as sending a quick email, and within 5 minutes, we can have that completed. So making things much more smooth, effective. And it's exciting to see what the future will hold for technology and real estate.
It is. Why don't we talk briefly, because we've only got a couple minutes left. Yeah. You touched on pricing strategy. When you say to the seller, you have to price competitively, a lot of people are always like, well, why don't we go high first and then we'll just reduce? Yeah. Why don't you tell us why that it doesn't necessarily make good sense? Yeah.
So, Bob, I think that I take a pretty conservative approach to pricing. I would much rather see a seller price their home on the lower end potentially of the range and pull in more traffic. If the home is priced right, it has been updated nicely, staged appropriately, we're going to have a better chance of getting more people in there and potentially going even over asking. And I think we've seen that this past year with respect to the decrease in days on market, days to offer in both Harvard and Bolton. And I think taking that approach of letting it, let's price it high and let's have it sit, it becomes stale and people end up not wanting to see it or thinking that there might be something wrong with it. So, again, those buyers are coming equipped with knowledge and data, and they have a better grasp on pricing as well.
Right. So pricing high is basically taking yourself out of the market.
In my opinion, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. Absolutely.
That's great information. Jenn, thanks for coming on the show with us today. It was really fun having you on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thanks, Jenn. Nice meeting
Pete.
you.
Likewise.
Anybody that's looking to buy or sell in Bolton or Harvard area, give Jenn a call. It's 508-574-5046. Again, it's 508-574-5046. We have to take a break, but we have a special Leaders and Legends coming up next, so stay tuned.